Crocoin has seen a nice rebound over the past week, up about 5%, after the majority of the altcoin market did see a pretty substantial pullback in the month of June. Now, we did see an update from the Cronos team today regarding the launch of the upcoming Cronos Layer 2 hyperchain, and we have already seen a huge amount of Cro actually migrated over to this chain in preparation for mainnet launch. So in today's episode of the Everything Crypto Show, I'm going to break down exactly what this new hyperchain could mean for the Cronos ecosystem and how it could increase the demand and utility of Crocoin itself. Now, before we hop into the content, just a friendly reminder that I am not a financial advisor. I am simply here for your crypto news and entertainment purposes. And if you do enjoy the content, please consider hitting that sub and like button and turn that notification bell on so you can be notified when all of our latest videos go live on the channel. So without further ado, we are going to get right into today's altcoin of discussion, and we are going to be talking about Crocoin here, as it has seen a nice rebound, as mentioned at the beginning of the video, up about 5% over the past week, and this comes after being down about 11% over the past month. You can see here that it bottomed out at about 7.7 cents, currently sitting at 9 cents, and looks like it does want to make its way back up to the key area of resistance at the 10-cent level. So we are going to talk about the price action at the tail end of the video. However, I do want to kind of start this off just talking about what's been going on in terms of the news, as the big thing we have been waiting for here is the new Cronos hyperchain, which I believe was initially set to launch in June. It does look like it got pushed back to July or to August. However, they have actually opened up the bridge so people can start moving over their Cro to this bridge and effectively rewarding you for being an early adopter through the loyalty points program. So when the mainnet does officially launch, you will be getting ZK Cro directly deposited into your wallet. ZK Cro is a yield earning staked Cro and the native token of the Cronos hyperchain, currently sitting at 19.3 million Cro here deposited for this yield, which is currently sitting at 7.07%. So if we take a look at the initial announcement on Twitter for the passage, they basically say here, the Cronos Hyperchain Passage campaign is here, rewarding the CroFam users with loyalty points for bridging assets to Cronos ZK EVM as we approach mainnet launch. From now until the mainnet launch is how long this event will be going on, and accepted tokens are Cro either on the Ethereum or the Cronos Layer 1, or Liquid Cro, which is available from Vano Finance, the liquid staking solution on the Cronos chain. And effectively, what you are doing is you lock your Cro or LCRO tokens in the Cronos ZK EVM bridge. You receive ZK Cro deposits at mainnet launch, equivalent to the 7.04% yield. Earn loyalty points towards the Pioneer program and redeem points for more benefits in participating dApps in the future. So this was announced on July 4th, okay? And since then, so it's been pretty much 10 days. And in 10 days, we have seen 19.3 million Cro already deposited onto this chain and basically waiting for the actual mainnet launch whenever that does occur. So we have the 10 million milestone here on, what day was this that we hit the 10 mil milestone? This was July 9th. So in 5 days, we hit 10 mil. In another 5 days, we're basically just sitting under 20 mil. So it appears that at the moment, about 10 million Cro is being deposited every 5 days, or about 2 million per day. Now, just for some context on what they're looking to achieve with the Cronos hyperchain, okay? And I think it's important because we've spoken about the Cronos chain, which launched back in November of 2021, ironically, pretty much the top of the bull market, right? And, you know, since then, Cronos has been kind of making its way down in the rankings. It was a top 10 chain for quite a while, currently sitting at 18th now, with 573 mil in total value locked. And if we do take a look here just at how the TVL has been looking, you're going to notice that it really hasn't seen any sort of like substantial movement for quite a while. It's been kind of relatively flat for the most part. And this does have to do with the price of CRO, but also with the fact that there are really not too many new deposits. So, it bottomed out at about a TVL of just under 300 mil in late 2023. And since then, we can actually see that the total value locked has increased as the price of CRO has increased as well, because this TVL is, denominated in CRO. And you can see here as well that in mid-2024, we were down to about 3.64 billion CRO on the chain, now up to about 6.579 billion CRO interacting with the Cronos chain. So with a circulating supply of 26 billion CRO, that means that about 1/5 of all CRO coin is actually utilizing the Cronos Layer 1, which is not a terrible ratio in my opinion. So, yeah, that also doesn't account for the Cronos Layer 1 as well, which if you account for that, you're looking at about 960 mil USD. But regardless, this is the Cronos chain, okay? And there are a lot of dApps here that you may recognize. VVS is the leading DEX. Tectonic is the leading lending program. They have Crypto.com, liquid staking, Vano Finance, liquid staking, Fulcrum Finance for futures trading and for leverage trading. And there really are just a bunch of different options here on Cronos for pretty much any DeFi purposes that you may need. Now, what Crypto.com is looking to do is solve a couple of key problems with the current ecosystem here in DeFi, and this infographic does a pretty good job of breaking it down. So the current pain points are liquidity fragmentation. Just look at all the different layer 1s that we have, all of the different layer 2s. It is basically just spreading all of this liquidity really thin, which the Crypto.com team is looking to basically pull together with this HYPERCHAIN through a trustless validating bridges, offering seamless connectivity and unified liquidity. Number 2, complexity and yield generation, and their solution is native yield-bearing assets. So this is a really interesting concept, one that I don't believe I've seen any chain mess around with yet, and one that I think could be a really big selling point for the Cronos chain as a whole. So effectively, what this means is that any tokens that you deposit onto the Cronos HYPERCHAIN are going to be automatically generating yield. So when you actually convert your CRO or you bridge your CRO into ZK CRO, ZK CRO is backed by Liquid CRO, Vano Finance's staked CRO, which represents CRO staked on the Cronos POS chain. Now, if we take a look at the Cronos POS chain, I would assume that it's currently offering about a 7% yield, give or take, because that is what's currently being offered here on the bridge feature there, right? So if we take a look, yeah, we can see that there's currently about a 7% yield being offered, 7.41% on the high end, 7.02% give or take there. On the low end on average. So what they're basically doing is taking the CRO that is staked here, and you can actually see it if you go and take a look at the name. You'll see, you can find Vano Finance here. So let's go ahead and search Vano. Yeah, you can see Vano Finance is actually right there. So what they are effectively doing is they're taking this CRO that's being staked, and they are going ahead and then staking it for Liquid CRO, staking it on the Cronos HYPERCHAIN. So just simply by moving your CRO over to this layer 2, you are going to be automatically generating that yield while they are dealing with all that stuff on the back end. And then there's ETH as well. So VETH, a yield-bearing version of ETH, backed by ETH, committed to the staking protocol. And then VUSD, a yield-bearing asset stablecoin, backed by investments into yield-generating lending protocols on the Ethereum mainnet. Now, the last thing they are looking to kind of solve with their HYPERCHAIN is the complex UX. So through a native account abstraction, smart accounts create butter smooth user experience. And effectively, just a lot of the stuff that probably holds people back from DeFi, like signing transactions and paying gas fees. What they're looking to do is kind of solve that on the back end and make the front end a little more seamless. And to me, this really does kind of stand in line with what Crypto.com's mission has been from the beginning, which is making crypto user-friendly for beginners to get into. So I think that a lot of what they're doing with this chain does align with their mission and their goals. Now, the way this looks and the way this all connects together, is you have the Cronos POS chain, okay? That's what we just took a look at, where you go ahead and stake your CRO for that yield. You have the Cronos ZK EVM blockchain, the layer 1, which offers all of the different dApps. And then you have the Cronos ZK EVM blockchain, the layer 2 solution, which we have been discussing in today's video, which connects back to the Ethereum mainnet and vice versa. And that is how you get this unified liquidity between the Ethereum layer 1 and all of the different ecosystems and chains that Cronos does have to offer. So definitely looking forward to the launch of that chain. If it is successful, then that definitely could lead to increased demand and potentially increased prices for Crocoin. And speaking of price, I do want to wrap things up actually taking a look at the price action, because we haven't covered this. I mean, we've covered it fairly recently, but I do think it is worth an update given that we have seen a little bounce here. And I want to just kind of break down what I am looking for next from this altcoin. So we're taking a look at the 5-year chart here, and I do want to just point out the orange line I have at the 10-cent level. This is kind of like the next big area I am looking for when it comes to this altcoin. Now, if we take a look from a log scale, you're going to see why, right? This orange line here, the 10-cent level, has acted as pretty strong areas of both resistance and support. So first of all, we did see a strong bounce at 10 cents back in mid-2021, which actually did lead this altcoin into that monster rally that it went into end the bull run here, up about 850% from 10 cents up to 96 cents. Now, in the bear market, we actually saw the 10-cent level act as support once and twice, 3 times over here before we saw the collapse of FTX, a lot of crypto.com FUD, which did lead the coin to break down here and collapse another 50% down to 5 cents. Now, if you've been with the channel for a while, you know that at the 5-cent range, we were talking about this altcoin being an undervalued buy. And yeah, from the 5-cent level, this coin definitely did go on a nice rally there from 5 cents up to 17.5 cents. That was about a 270% rally, give or take. Now, since then, it has kind of been tapering off. We are now back down to the 9-cent level, below the key area of support at that 10-cent range, which means that it has officially been flipped into resistance. You can see we are also below the bull market support band here. Now, what I find interesting is that I haven't actually put this line here, but you're going to notice that it actually found support at the same level it did back here in January of 2024 before it bounced, and we did see a nice reversal here on the weekly candle. So if CRO can actually hold this 7.7, 7.8 cent range, we could be due for a larger reversal and a retest of the 10-cent level. But that is what I'm looking for, really, would just be to see how it behaves when if and when it does make its way back up to this zone of resistance. So on that note, I hope you did enjoy the content in today's video. I hope you are all staying happy, safe, and healthy, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace out for now.